Guys, let's do a magic trick. What's going to show up underneath my hand? Oh, that's disappointing. Guys, we today are finally going to take a look at the Wii Banter. Now, I know that a lot of you guys love this knife. I've never been a real big fan. It went in pocket this morning early, and now we're getting around to the first day in pocket. So let's turn this around. We're going to look at the good and the bad that I've noticed throughout the first day of carry. All right, guys, like I said in the intro, this thing magically appeared. I have never really been a big fan of this knife, but we are going to take a good look at this. We're going to look at it. Today is first day in pockets. I have to admit, I've never carried. Why is my autofocus not working? Sorry about that. I don't know what was going on. I've never carried it. I've only ever handled one. I still say that it's still not going to be anything I really like, but we're going to give it a shot. So let's take this first day. It's only been in pockets. It is 10 o'clock. I got up at 5 o'clock so I could FaceTime with the wife in Japan. So it's been in pocket for about 5 hours. And I have to say, there are some good things about it, but overwhelmingly, I am unimpressed with this. And I think it's just, I don't know. I really am not 100% sure what it is yet that I don't like. But as you can see on the mat, it is not actual size. So let's go ahead and get some things out for size comparison first. So your first knife is going to be the Monterey Bay Knives Slayback. This gets a lot of pocket time, and that's why it is one of the first knives, because it was in my pocket. But it's a pretty good comparison because it's another relatively small knife, but still significantly, it's significantly smaller, but still longer than the Banter. So next knife's going to be the CJRB Rhea, another small gentleman's folder that is about the same length and everything, but significantly smaller than the Banter dimensionally. Another knife that I really think hits the mark really well. And then your final knife, as always, is going to be the Chris Reeves Sebenza. I use this in every video just in case you're tuning in for the first time, because it's a knife that a lot of people in the knife world are going to know. This is a large Sebenza 21, as you can see, significantly smaller. The Wii Banter is significantly smaller than the Chris Reeves Sebenza large 21. Let's get this out of the way and talk about the things I've noticed about this knife. So, like I said, this is the Wii Banter, and this is done by Ben, the same guy from nafs.com that is responsible for these mats that I have. I like Ben, I like all of his content, and I do love these mats if you're ever looking for one. It's 2019, it's nafs.com, KNAFS.com. So yeah, this is the baby, or not the baby Banter, this is the Wii Banter. And this one's done in carbon fiber and S35VN. And I guess it's meant to be a kind of like a gentleman's folder, like a small folder. But my issue with this is this knife isn't very comfortable for me, just because it's in my hand. But I don't get the overall aesthetic. Like I was saying, I brought this out specifically as another small knife. You've got similar blade or edge, So sorry about that, guys. I got a bunch of texts all at once on my phone, and I just couldn't think to say what it was. What I was saying is this knife has got a very similar edge profile, but you're not getting so much bulk. I think that my biggest problem with this knife is some dimensional and ergos things. But we'll talk about the good things first, and then we'll talk about the bad stuff. So like I said, I've had this in pocket for a few hours this morning. Really good things about this knife. It is ground relatively well. It comes down relatively thin for a smaller blade, but that's because it's pretty wide. Now, could it have been done better? Yes, absolutely. It could have been much thinner. The handles on it are extremely light. This knife is very, very light. And it does have a very deep carry pocket clip if that's something you're into. It is thumb stud only, and like I said, overall profile on it is really good. This is not going to be a long video, guys. The jimping on it is good jimping. It's the kind of jimping I like, where it's aggressive enough that you're not going to slip up over on it, and it's also not softened. I don't care what style jimping it is, as long as the jimping is functional and it doesn't allow me to slide up and over. The finish on this knife is really, really good. They've done probably a PVD and stone wash on top of it. It could be DLC, but I'm not sure. I have not looked this knife up yet. And like I said, as far as clean lines, this knife is fairly attractive for some people. I'm not going to say I find it attractive, but I can see that it is milled barrel. Construction, really, really good. And the fact is, they did a good job keeping this nice and clean on this lanyard hole. So those are the good things I've noted. I haven't done a lot of cutting with it, but it seems to cut okay. I'm not going to say it's stellar or anything like that, but I will say it does cut okay. So there we go. That's the good things I've noticed so far. Now let's talk about some of the bad stuff. So flip side of the story, flip side of the knife. So now the flip side, the bad stuff that I've noticed just so far in about 5 hours of carry. It is very, for as small as it is, it takes up so much pocket space. It really does. It is a pocket hog. And I'm not sure what the use case scenario on this was. If I want a knife this dimensional, length, I'm going to want something more along the lines of the slayback that I showed, or the CJRB RIA that I showed, something that's a little bit less pocket space intensive. So it is very fat. It's a fat, stubby little knife, which that can be okay if that's what you're looking for. The thumb studs are very close to the scale, which means that, like, guys with big hands like me, it doesn't give you a lot of room. Now, once you get on them and you figure out where you're going to hit them from, as opposed to trying to come at it from the side and come up from the front, they work pretty good. The blade, I was talking about the blade. Now, I said it was ground okay. This could have been done so much thinner. This could have been come down so much thinner with a broad blade like this. You could have ground that so much thinner behind the edge and it would have cut way better than it does. It cuts okay, but it doesn't cut great, which is something like, that's what I would want in a knife that is this plain looking, if you know what I'm saying. There is a lot of jimping on the lock bar for this liner lock that you really don't need. And it is, as you can see, look at my thumb, it's calloused, but you can see where it's eating up the calluses because that jimping is fairly aggressive on that lock bar. Did not need to be there. You could have lowered this a little bit, left this pretty much flat. You would have had a better access to it. Access to the lock bar is tight. Like I said, you needed to take some material off there, in my opinion, and it would have made this a much more comfortable knife to use. I don't like lanyard holes. They did okay. We talked on that. This pocket clip, though, and I think 100% that the things I don't like about this knife are due to the size of my hands. That pocket clip is just all over hot spotty. I don't like using this knife, especially for any heavy cutting. And I think that's the direction they were going, was to make this more of make a case for it to be a heavier duty use gentleman's folder. Like I said, you've got this nice small one that works pretty well for your day-to-day tasks in an office and things like that. This is something that I think they were trying to set out to make it like a heavier duty, heavier use knife. And it doesn't offer you the comfort of cutting that I think you could get with some other knives. And then this pocket clip being there and being so proud makes it even worse. I think that most of the problems I have with this is dimensionally, I don't like the way this feels. It's uncomfortable in my hand. And it's just really pretty plain. I know it's a really popular knife. We're getting around to it. I just hadn't ever really gotten, Jared sent me this and I put off putting it in my pocket for a while. And I'm like, okay, I just need to do it. Is it a bad knife? No, it's absolutely not a bad knife. It just has a lot of features about it that are just not for me. I don't like this point here. I think that this would have been better with a palm swell on a knife like this. You might have done better with a little bit of a swell here where you could get around it and give you a different grip. And then a different pocket clip absolutely would have done it. So guys, that's it on this one. We're going to turn this around, do some final thoughts. I will put this in my pocket. I'll carry it for some longer. Maybe I'll change. I may have a change of opinion. It does occur from time to time. Like I said, this is absolutely just first impressions. So let's turn this around. So there you go, guys. The end of this is, I'm still on the fence. I may change my opinion, but right now this is just not a knife for me. It's a good knife. We Knife Company does an amazing job. I don't want you guys to think there's anything wrong with the knife functionally or construction standards. It's just not a knife for me. So yeah, with that being that, guys, if you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down, but please try to tell me why. I can't change the content if you don't tell me what you don't like. If you want to support the channel, it's as simple as like, share, subscribe, drop a comment, hit the bell icon. If you do hit the bell icon, make sure you've got notifications on it set to all, and make sure you got notifications turned on your device or you won't get notified of everything I do every day. If you want to support the channel financially, there are a bunch of ways down below in the description. There are a ton of affiliate links. It's like self-sponsorship. Anything you purchase with any of those affiliate links directly supports the channel. It does not cost you anything at checkout. Coffee Brand Coffee and Atlas VPN are currently running discounts if you use my affiliate links. So check those out. Really good coffee. I just set up a Christmas package, a gift box for my family back in Ohio. Other ways you can do it, I have got a membership down below that is tier-based. All the members have access to my Gilded server, which is just like Discord. Baseline and Premium guys are entered into giveaways that I do on the Gilded server automatically, nothing else they have to do. And the Premium guys have access to a sharpening tutorial series here on YouTube that's behind the paywall for Premium tier members. And the final way is I have a merchandise store on Ember Shirt Co., where you can pick up my merchandise or other creators' merchandise at a discount of 10% if you use my coupon code CrazySharp. Capital C, capital S, CrazySharp, saves you 10%. Guys, that's it on this one. If it's your birthday, if it's your birthday, happy birthday. I love you all, and I will see you in the next video.